In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make this look like this, all at home with hardly any tools or equipment.
You're watching the
Kodokuna
Raida
YouTube channel.
So in this episode, I'm going to show you really detailed how to repair your tank cover. Now, if you haven't got a tank cover like on a Vmax, but you've got a tank, it's exactly the same process. The only thing that makes it harder is I've got a dent here, so it's easy for me to knock this dent out. But in a tank, you've got to get a bar down inside your tank and lever it out. But the process is exactly the same. Now this paint, it's not the greatest. I might get away with it with rubbing it with 180 grit wet and dry paper, then priming. But for this video, I'm actually going to get my battery drill with the wire wheel on it, and I'm going to take all the paint off. Now if your paint on your tank or something is not so bad, then just give it a really good rub down with 180 or 600. And then we'll prime it up after that, exactly the same. But for me, I'm going to strip all this paint off and get down to metal and show you how to do it from metal. Well, there we are. I've got all the paint off. It took a while, but I got it all off. Now, you can use paint strip if you want. You can use a grinder if you want. You can use rub it down. I don't care. Just get it all off. So it was getting a little bit late in the afternoon, so I decided to put some primer on the tank, and then we'll let it dry overnight, and we'll give that a rub back and find all the dents that we need to repair. Okay, it's the next day. The primer's all dry. Now, normally we'd rub this with 600 grit paper or less, but today we know we've got to repair another dent over here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is rub this all down with 240 grit. Not so smooth. So we're going to check we haven't got any more dents. So you can also see now we've got this black guide coat. You'll see when I rub. So you can see now when I've rubbed, there's still black down here. So that means I've got to keep rubbing till that black is all gone. And that's when it's all flat. The same as before when we were rubbing the filler. Don't rub this way in a straight line. Always do it at 45-degree angle if you can. Sometimes you can't, but you always got to try. So I can already see there might be a little dent there, but we might rub it out as well. So let's get into it. Okay, we're all rubbed down, so let me show you what it looks like. Now remember, we rubbed this with 240, so a much coarser paper than you'd normally use. If you're doing a final rub down, you'd use 600, 800. The coarsest paper you'd use would be the 600. So let's have a look. We've got a little tiny dent here. See the black there, little circle. A little tiny one here. Here's our big one, a little one, and I thought I saw another little one. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, there we go. See that little one just there? Very small, but it's there. So these little tiny ones, if you'd used high fill primer, which is a lot thicker than this ordinary primer I've used, they might have even filled with your primer. But we're not using high fill primer because I'm trying to show you how to do things as cheaply and as easy as possible with minimal amount of tools. So this one here and these two and that one are fine just to put a little smear of filler, but this one is a little bit deep. So what we're going to do, again, I'm just showing you how to do things easily. I could get out my hammer and dolly and carefully knock it up, but you might not have that hammer and dolly at home. So all I'm using is a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm going to hold it under on the dent on the other side and just give it a tap with a hammer and see if we can knock it up a little bit. Oh, good. Okay, I can see where I've hit it there. So I'm just going to get my little 240 paper again. Okay, there we go. Now, if you're tapping yours out like that, be very gentle. These dent in and out very, very easy. So now I've only got a little tiny mark there, so that's fine just with a little bit of filler. So I'm going to mix up a bit of filler now, put a bit here on those couple of little marks. So this little tin of fine filler I'm using can be used on plastic or on metal. So if you're going to buy a little bit of filler, just make sure you buy it for the right application that you're doing. And I'm mixing this 20 parts of filler to 1 part of hardener. Okay, so there we go. Now it's a beautiful warm day today. So I'm just going to put that out in the sun for an hour or so. That will dry. I don't even need an hour, maybe even half an hour will be enough. We'll get it all dry and we'll rub it back and prime it all up again. Okay, let's get into it. Now, I'm using 180 grit now, so just a little bit coarser than what we were using to see if we can rub these out. Now the reason I'm using 180, it's very fine, but also we can just put primer straight over the top of 180. Okay, there we have it. All rubbed down, all the little holes. Sorry about that shadow there. So it's fine now. We can just prime this all up. So I'm going to put 2 coats of primer over the filler and the bare metal patches. Then I'm going to put another 3 coats of primer over the whole lot. We're going to let it dry overnight and then we're going to rub it down again and get it just perfect. Okay, there we have it. All primed up, 3 coats of primer, 2 coats over the patches we just did, and then another 3 coats over it all. So we're going to let that dry overnight. We're going to get stuck into it tomorrow. But why primer is shiny or paint shiny, you can usually see if there's a dent or something. It looks like we've got them all out, but we won't know until we rub it again tomorrow. So let's let that dry, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to rub it back again. This primer's been drying for a couple of days. I put a little guide coat of black, very, very light coat of black. That'll show us the scratches if we've got any. So I've got this block. This block is a little bit soft, not a real hard block. And I'm rubbing today with 600 grit paper. So let's rub this out and see if any scratches do come up or if we're going to be okay. rubbed out. No scratches, no marks. It's beautiful. You can see I haven't rubbed through anywhere. So it's just beautiful. So that's with 600 grit paper. So now what I'm going to do is dry it all off, leave it out in the sun to get nice and warm, and we're going to start to paint it. Okay, it's nice and warm, it's been out in the sun. So we're doing a two-stage process here. We're doing colour, and then we're doing clear over colour. And we're only using acrylic. So first, I want to put on enough paint that it covers the tank so you can't see any grey through. Then after that, you know, 1 or 2 coats. So we might get away with about 3 coats. And then when that dries, we'll put some clear over the top. So let's go. The first coat's not so heavy because you're creating something for it to stick to. So don't put it too heavy. That looks nice. Just after the second coat, it's all covered. When you are painting your tank, make sure you bend down and you get all your edges done underneath. Let's let that dry now, and then I'll bring you back when we're going to start to have a really good look to see if we need to do anything else before we put clear on. So we haven't got any marks or anything, but what I wanted to show you, if you have, get a little bit of 1200 paper, you can get finer if you want, and you just have to give it very, very light scuff like this. Just scuff out little parts like that, or give it a real little once rub over. You don't need a block for 1200, you're just giving it a little scuff. What it does is just takes a little bit of the so what it does is just takes the top off the paint and allows the clear when it goes on to give a really nice finish. So I'm going to wipe that down and then we're going to spray some clear. Okay, let's put on the clear. You can put on 2 coats is usually enough, or you can put on 3. It depends on what sort of job you want. But let's have a look. Maybe 2 will be enough. And there we have it. It's the next day, it's dry, no marks, no scratches, and a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful finish. Well, I hope this helps you, and if you're thinking about doing it for yourself, that you'll give you a little bit more confidence. Thanks a lot. Always remember, drive like you know each other. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you.